Hello everyone, welcome to my lecture series of electromagnetic fields. We will discuss different theories, phenomena and numerical solution of different cases in this series. I hope this series will give a fruitful outcome to physics scholars or engineering students.
So in the last video we have seen the properties of conductors with the point form of Ohm's law and the better understanding of relaxation time. In today's video we are going to discuss the insulators or say dielectric materials. So first of all we will understand what is the dielectric material, then a phenomena very important which is called polarization. Then we will discuss some properties of dielectric materials with the fundamental understanding of dielectric strength of any material and utilization factor. So let us start the content. So it is seen that in the conductor we have large number of free electrons. So if you recall the content of the previous video, then we have seen that for in any conductor each atom which are arranged in a particular lattice consist of nucleus and some bound electron with some free electron. So each atom, say for example we have one free electron per atom, then we can have such free electrons available in the conductor, and ultimately whatever current is being constituent is due to the presence of such free electrons. But in insulator or insulating material, we do not have any availability of such free electrons. Fine. What happened in insulating materials? We have a nucleus of atom and each and every electron are bounded with this nucleus and we do not have any free electron available, so the conduction is not possible due to the unavailability of free electron in insulating material. Fine. The charges in dielectrics, this insulating material is also known as dielectric material. So the charges in dielectrics are bound by the finite forces and hence these charges are called bound charges. So the charges available in dielectric material is called bound charges. And as the bound charges are not free, they cannot contribute to the conduction process, but if they are subjected to any external electric field, so if we apply an electric field, so for an instance I am putting two plates, one positively charged and another one negatively charged by the same magnitude. Fine. So the electrostatic field from the direction of positive plate to negative plate is there across this dielectric material. So in presence of such electrostatic field, both the nucleus with positive charges and the electrons with negative charges will experience some force and they will form an electric dipole, and doing so they will change the relative position. So let us understand in a better way. Say I am taking here one particular atom of insulating material and two orbits around it. So in the center there is a nucleus of atom with some number of neutron and proton. Neutron, as we know that it is a electrically neutral particle, so it will have no contribution for this electrostatic force. We have applied the external field in this direction from left hand side to right hand side, and say we have 6 electrons bounded in two different orbits of the atom. Okay, so what will happen? Due to the presence of external electric field, the positive charge will experience a Coulomb force of Q multiplied by E bar, and the negative charges, or say electron, will experience a force of minus Q into E bar. So both the charges will experience a force in a opposite direction. Fine. So what will happen? The positive charge will move in the direction of field. So this atom will now change its geometry, and these electrons, or say negative charge, we can imagine this negative charge as a cloud of electron. Fine. So in such condition, what will happen? The cloud of electrons will shift in opposite direction of E bar. So it will shift quite left, and the positive nucleus will shift to the same direction of E bar. So here we can imagine that a dipole is formed, and the direction of that dipole is from negative charge to positive charge. Fine. So we can also say the dipole moment, that is small p bar, is in the direction of E bar. And this process of shifting of the centers of positive and negative charges is called the polarization. So this polarization is observed in any dielectric material. Fine. And when such dipole results from displacement of bound charges, the dielectric is said to be polarized. So now we can say that this dielectric is polarized. And why it is polarized? Due to the presence of external electric field. You see, when E bar was 0, at that time the center of both the charges were exactly the same. Fine. So in where the external field is 0, the atom is unpolarized. Atom of dielectric is unpolarized when external field is 0. Fine. But as soon as we give some non-zero external field, the positive charge and negative charge cloud will shift in mutually opposite direction and will form a dipole. And the process of formation of these dipole is called the polarization. Fine. So polarization can be mathematically defined as the total dipole moment per unit volume. This is very important statement. Polarization is nothing but the total dipole moment per unit volume. Fine. And what will be the unit of polarization? We have total dipole moment, small p bar, divided by unit volume, let us say delta V. So p bar has a unit of Coulomb into meter, and V has a unit of meter cube. So this meter and meter cube will give us meter square. So the unit of polarization is nothing but Coulomb per meter square, which is the same as unit of flux density. So we can conclude that the polarization has something to do with the flux density. What is the relation between polarization and flux density? We will just see in fraction of moments. Okay. But before that, after having the understanding of polarized atom and unpolarized atom, we must understand the types of dielectric. So for the types of dielectric, we have two types. The first one is called non-polar dielectric, and the second one is polar dielectric. Now what is the difference between these two types? So non-polar molecules, the dipole arrangement is totally absent. So here dipole arrangement is absent, and it is only present when external electric field is applied. So dipole will only be created when we will apply the external field. Otherwise, in absence of field, there will not be any dipole inside the material. So such material is called the non-polar dielectric. While in polar dielectric, there will be permanent displacement. In polar dielectric, permanent displacement between centers of positive and negative charges exist. So this sentence means that if the dielectric is of polar type, then irrespective of presence of external field, whether E is 0 or non-zero, there will be some dipole moment. However, these dipole moment will be randomly directed. So these electric dipoles will be randomly directed, and they will experience of torque only when the external field is applied. Okay, so these are two kind of dielectric material. We also have some example. So the examples of non-polar dielectrics are hydrogen, oxygen, and rare gases. So these are the mediums in which the dipole is absent when external field is 0, and dipole will only will come in existence when the external field is applied to such gases. Whereas polar dielectric, so most of the dielectrics are of kind of polar dielectric. Okay, so we can have a water. So water in its purest form is a insulator. So it's the purest form of water, so which is nothing but H2O. Then sulfur dioxide, so SO2, and another thing is hydrochloric acid. Fine, but hydrochloric acid is quite a conductive medium, rather insulating. So we have such example of water and sulfur dioxide, which will have the permanent displacement between the centers of positive and negative charge. So there will be number of electric dipoles inside these two liquid medium, but these dipoles are randomly directed. So in absence of any electric field, we will have zero effect of such electric dipoles, but as soon as we apply the electric field, the dipoles will experience a torque and they will align parallel to the external field, and then it will start affecting the overall field distribution of the system. Okay, so if say in per unit volume we are having a dipole moment can be defined as, so small p bar equals to the magnitude of charge into displacement vector. Now this displacement vector is nothing but the distance between two charges from negative, and the direction is from negative charge to positive charge. Okay, so let us say we have, assume we have n dipoles formed per unit volume, then Polarization is represented by capital P bar. Fine. Dipole moment is represented by small p bar. So please keep it in mind. So polarization is nothing but a limit delta V tends to 0. Now the total dipole moment, if we are having n number of dipoles, then the total dipole moment can be written as I equals to 1 to n p I bar divided by delta V. And if we expand this equation, then we will have limit delta V tends to 0 summation from I equals to 1 to n. Now pi bar can be written as qi into di bar divided by delta V. So this is the mathematical expression of polarization. So please don't get confused with P. Capital P represents the polarization of dielectric and small p represents the dipole moment. Okay, so now what will happen? So suppose we are having an insulating material and we apply an external field in this direction, then what will happen? So many dipoles will be formed inside this material, and the negative charges will get attracted towards left hand side, the positive nucleus will get attracted towards right hand side. Fine. So this is the direction of external field and this is the direction of our dipole moment. So all these dipole moments, say P1 bar, P2 bar up to Pn bar. So we have this dipole moment. Fine. And each and every dipole will have its own electric field, and we can see that the field line are increased, and if the field lines are increased, then the flux density is also increased. So the flux density up to now we just have d bar is equals to epsilon 0 E bar. But in case of dielectric medium, due to the formation of electric dipoles, now the field lines inside these materials are very much higher, and due to the increase in field lines, we also have the increase in flux density. So we can have epsilon 0 E bar plus P bar, which is nothing but the polarization. Fine. So this is the relation between the flux density and the polarization in dielectric material. This is very fundamental and important relationship which must be understood. Fine. So we can write this equation because the unit of polarization and unit of flux density are same. Fine. So now for isotropic and linear medium, the P bar and E bar are parallel to each other. So as you can see, the direction of each and every dipole moment is same, and so the direction of polarization will also be same. Fine. And hence we can see that polarization and external electric field are having the same direction and say parallel to each other. Now P bar is related with external field by a relation, that is chi E into epsilon 0 into E bar. So P bar can be represented as chi E into epsilon 0 E bar. So now if we put the chi into epsilon 0 into E bar in equation 1, then D bar is nothing but epsilon 0 E bar plus chi e epsilon 0 E bar. Now we can write epsilon 0 chi e plus 1 into E bar equals to D bar, and hence epsilon r, or say relative permittivity, is nothing but chi e plus 1. This is also very important relationship which are very useful when we are solving the numericals. Now here chi e is nothing but the susceptibility of the medium. Susceptibility of the medium. Actually, it is a unitless quantity which only shows chi e. It shows how sensitive our dielectric material is for external electric field. So chi e has very fundamental or simple meaning, that is how sensitive our material is for the external electric field. So the very first equation that we need to understand and remember is d bar is equals to epsilon 0 E bar plus P bar. Here P bar is capital P bar, which shows the polarization. Okay, polarization has a relationship with electric field as chi e multiplied by epsilon 0 into E bar. So this equation 1 can now be written as d bar equals to epsilon 0 E bar plus chi e epsilon 0 E bar, and taking common we have the final relationship as relative permittivity, or say epsilon r, is equals to chi e plus 1. Now let us discuss some properties of insulators. So we have discussed the properties of conductor, and these things are very important when we will discuss the boundary conditions. Okay, so you must have a question in your mind that why we are studying this property of conductors and properties of insulators. Fine, because when we will study the boundary condition, these properties will be very helpful to derive the exact relationship and formula. So the very first property is that the dielectric do not contain any free charge, but it contains the bound charges. So free charges they do not contain, and bound charges they contain. Then second property is that bound charges are under an internal molecular and atomic forces and cannot contribute to the conduction. So bound charges do not contribute in conduction. See, the summary of whatever we have discussed up till now can be written as a properties of dielectric materials, or say insulators. The third thing, when subjected to an external field, the bound charges shift their relative positions, and due to this, small electric dipoles get induced inside the dielectric. This is called the polarization. So in third property we are going to write the concept of polarization. The next property is, due to this polarization, the dielectrics can store the energy. Fine. So fourth property is, dielectric materials can store the energy. The fifth one being the flux density of dielectric increases by an equal amount of polarization. So the relation d bar equals to epsilon 0 E bar plus P bar is also a property of dielectric. So as you can see from this equation that flux density is increased by the amount of polarization in dielectric material. The induced dipole produce their own electric field and aligned in the direction of applied electric field. So we just have drawn the figure which made us understand the point. And when polarization occur, the volume charge density is formed inside the dielectric while the surface charge density is formed over the surface. So irrespective of conductor, at the time we have discussed the properties of conductor, we have seen that volume charge density inside the conductor is 0. Only charge that will exist will be on the surface, so surface charge density will be non-zero. But in case of insulator, rho v will not be equal to 0 as well as rho s will not be equals to 0. So there will be charges inside the insulating material as well as on the surface of the insulating material. And the last property is the electric field outside and inside the dielectric gets modified due to the induced electric dipole. Now this dipole will modify the field distribution inside as well as the outside of the insulating material. So these are the properties of insulators. So insulator behaves differently. Either it is subjected to any external electric field or it is kept as normal condition. So in both the conditions the behavior of insulating materials are different. Okay, moving further, we need to understand the dielectric strength. So the ideal dielectric is non-conducting, but practically no dielectric can be ideal, because if we apply, say after application of electric field, we have the motion or say displacement in a relative position, but as we increase the field, the distance between two charges will also get increased, and after some particular value of this electric field, some electron will get detached from the atom, and such detached electron is called the free electron. And once we have huge number of free electrons inside any medium, then there will be conduction, and if there is a conduction, then this material is no more a dielectric or insulator, it has become the conductor. Fine. So if we keeps on increasing the value of E bar, it will increase the displacement between positive and negative charges. Once this force is threshold greater than the threshold value, then these electrons will get detached from its atom, and availability of such free electrons will cause the conduction inside the material, and once the conduction takes place, then this material is no more a dielectric material, it has converted into the conductor. Fine. So the capability of any material of withstanding the field, external electric field, is called the dielectric strength. Fine. So as the electric field applied to the dielectric increases sufficiently, and due to the force exerted on the molecules, the electrons in the dielectric become free, and under such large electric field, the dielectric become the conducting due to the presence of large number of free electrons, and this condition of dielectric is called the dielectric breakdown. So as soon as the conduction take place inside any insulating material, we can say the dielectric breakdown or said has occurred, and the value of E bar up to which the material can withstand the electric field is called the dielectric strength. So the dielectric strength is defined as the minimum value of the applied electric field at which the dielectric breaks down is called the dielectric strength of that material. Fine. So the dielectric strength is measured in kilovolt per centimeter. So different insulating materials have different value of dielectric strength or breakdown strength. Say for air it is 30 kV per centimeter. Fine. For oil or say transformer oil, it has the variation around 40 to 50 kV per centimeter. Fine. So this breakdown strength of different dielectric materials depends on number of factors such as the temperature is there, pressure is there, okay, humidity, moisture. So there are many factors. Also the magnitude of E bar and the time for which we apply such high intensity are also depends or affect the dielectric strength of a material. Fine. So this is how so an insulator is not an insulator for any case or for any time. Fine. We can generate some situation in which insulator will converted into the conductor. And finally, the last thing for the today's video is utilization factor. These studies, the utilization factor of an electric field is defined as the ratio of average electric field to the maximum value of an electric field. And it is denoted by eta. So eta is equals to the utilization factor, and which is equals to E average divided by E maximum. So we can say that utilization factor is only defined when the field is non-uniform. Fine, because if the field is uniform, at that time E average and E max both will be same. Fine. So utilization factor will be 1 for the uniform field. So eta is equals to 1 implies the field is uniform, or eta is less than 1 implies the field is non-uniform, and eta greater than 1 is not possible. Why not possible? Because average value of any quantity will always be less than the maximum value. Fine. So eta greater than 1 is not possible situation. So this is the things about the dielectric material or insulating material that we need to understand before studying the boundary conditions. So in next video we will see the boundary condition between conductor and dielectric, and then the boundary condition between two different dielectric.